Hi everybody, my name is Brian Glow and I'm a magician. I've toured all over the world and I've got to tell you that magic actually saved my life. You see, I was extremely bullied when I was a kid. From grade 5 to grade 12, I had some of the worst experiences of my entire life. I was afraid to go to school. I was afraid to say hello to someone because I was so afraid of getting hurt, beat up, and bullied. Hey everybody, I'm going to show you something really cool. He just uses a handkerchief and my hand. And you take the handkerchief and you wave it up and down. It gets smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller, till when you wave your hand, suddenly it not only gets smaller, but it starts to change color. It's smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller, color, 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 until it's changed completely. Now, everyone asks the magician, how did you do that? I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I'm going to show you how it's done. Now, most magicians would never do this, but you must promise by taking the magician's oath, I will never tell how my magic is done. Okay, now that we've done that, I'm safe from the Magician Society. I can teach you how to do it now, but you got to promise, don't tell anybody, especially the other thousands of people who are watching this video. There's actually only 2 handkerchiefs. And what you're going to do is, before the show, you take your handkerchief and you start pushing it inside your hand. And it doesn't matter which color you put inside. Okay? But do not open up your hand. If you open up your hand, you're going to ruin the trick because they're going to see it there. So be very careful. When you're ready to do the trick, you take the handkerchief, you wave it up and down because you want them to watch, and then you start pushing it inside your hand. As you push it inside your hand, you wave your hand, which doesn't do anything, but it looks really cool, and you start to pull out the other handkerchief. You pull it a little bit, you push this one in a little bit, you pull this one out, you push this one in, push it, and you get the idea, and then you pull it out. But don't open up this hand, because if you do, it'll ruin the trick. And now you know how to do some magic, and you're going to be great. I love magic, and this is one of my favorite little magic illusions, and I think you're going to love this. Magic is fun because it not only does it entertain, but it's a great way to make friends. And you know, when we have friends, we can get rid of bullying, because bullying is really a very malicious and constant effect on our life. It brings us down. It makes us feel horrible. People who are bullies, sometimes they've been bullied too. They don't even realize that they're hurting you by repeatedly calling you names or pushing you around. And it's really a horrible thing. Wouldn't it be great if someone who is being really bad to you, if you could do a little bit of a magic illusion and maybe get them to change their mind and maybe have a smile and stop thinking about hurting other people? Well, this is just that kind of trick. This is great, especially if maybe you're in a coffee shop, or maybe you're at someone's home and you want to have a little fun. You just finished drinking a cup of coffee, and then all of a sudden you notice something's happening. You notice that the cup is getting lighter. It's getting a little lighter, and suddenly it actually starts to get away from you. That's crazy. It actually starts to float away. Want to learn how to do that? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a little bit of magic with a styrofoam cup. Now, this is so much fun because you can find this anywhere. Any coffee shop, or any time you're at a friend's place, and I'm sure you've got these at home. It's a lot of fun because you're going to be drinking coffee, and the surprise to your friends is that it begins to float away. Wow! That's right, it floats. And I'm going to show you how to make it float away. The secret is really simple. It's really at the back of the cup. You're going to notice that there's a little indentation. I took my thumb, and while you weren't looking, right behind it, I pressed in. And by pressing in, it catches just on the thumbnail, just a little bit. And that's all you want, just a little bit. You don't want it stuck in all the way. And your fingers are going to do all the action. They're going to move around. This thumb behind here is going to be just off to the side, okay? This thumb, they don't even notice that it's behind because these fingers are making so much action, you're forgetting that there's anything else happening. So when I do this, I then take my 2 index fingers and I press against it. That allows me to pull my thumb out of the back. So when they're trying to think about how the trick was done, the last image they see is just your little fingers holding the cup. So that's where the magic happens. It's quite a good illusion. Now this is a great way to make friends, great way to have a little bit of fun, and you do it when no one's expecting it. The best time to do it is you've just finished a cup of coffee and then you wham them with a great bit of magic. And they're all gonna go, what? And all you have to do to get rid of the evidence is I'm sure all of you have heard of the phrase, sticks and stones can break my bones, but names will never hurt me. But I bet you don't know where that came from. Well, just after the Civil War in the United States, a lot of African Americans who knew that they were going to be suffering at the hands of slave owners, even though they had been released from slavery, wanted to prepare their children to be tough. And they came up with the phrase, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me, because they knew that they were going to be persecuted with words worse than anything now. And that they would be used because they would thought that if you said something really bad, maybe you would react to them and they would have a reason to lash out back and sometimes even kill you for talking back to them. And this is what they wanted to prepare their children for the onslaught of these terrible accusations that were going to be made against them. So take that in heed and remember, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. And that will be your armor to stop any kind of bad words from making you feel bad or hurtful. All you have to do is walk away or let those words just wash over you just like they did after the Civil War until today. It's something to remember and it'll help you. Hey everybody, if you're out at a restaurant or maybe having a dinner party or having some friends over, maybe you're even in a coffee shop and you want to have some fun doing some magic, you can use things that are all around you. And that means even things like a napkin that happens to be sitting around on your table. For instance, you could tell your friends that you have the power of hypnosis, woo, that you actually could make this as stiff as a board, as stiff as a board. Watch, you can make it as stiff. As stiff as a board, as stiff as a board. Oh, I forgot, I didn't do the magic. You have to tell it what you need to do. Stay. And then it's as stiff as a board. But you can do something a little more different. Ow! Take one of your hairs and you can actually control it with your own hair. I'm going to show you how to do that with just an ordinary handkerchief. It doesn't take any props. There's nothing there, just your imagination. One thing about cloth napkins that people don't realize is they're kind of stiff. Sometimes they have a little bit of starch in them, but most times the material itself is stiff. So if you pull on it really hard, and pinch it with your thumb and forefinger like that, when you let go, it will actually stand up straight, just like that. Now, to get it to move, that same thumb and forefinger is used to pull back with the thumb or push forward with the thumb. Back or forward. Now, they don't see that because it's behind you, like that. Now, you're going to show them that you can do this, and they're so intent in watching the handkerchief that they don't pay attention to the thumb and finger. So you can get away with doing things like this. Now, the hair thing is just a joke, but it's really keeps their mind off the handkerchief and not down here. So if you keep their attention up here and you just use some acting skills and pretend you've got a hair and you give it a little pull like that and you just move the handkerchief with your finger, you can get it to look like it's actually being controlled by your hair. And if it breaks or drops, you just tell them that your hair broke. They'll believe you. Now, you've got it here. Your hair is around. You can pull down. You can pull it back. You can pull it to the side if you want. You can wiggle it a bit. And then when you're finished, when you drop your hair, you're going to just let everything loosen up at your thumb and forefinger. So if you're here and you go, it just drops. And you just have to just move it a little bit and it'll just naturally want to drop. And that's the kind of the fun thing. So you can get a lot of little action out of it. Whoop, whoop. You know, a balloon is a lot like us. It's pretty resilient. It's able to move and change and bounce. You can react to all kinds of different situations. But the one thing a balloon has is a very thin skin. I guess humans are like that too. We've got very thin skins. It's used to protect us, keeps the germs from getting in. Keeps our blood inside us. It's like balloons, you know, the air stays inside. But they're pretty fragile things. They can actually break really, really easily, especially if they have their arch enemy, the pin. Ooh. Now, this pin is like people talking to you, saying really, really bad things. You can imagine if someone's coming up to me telling you how much of an idiot you are, how stupid you are, and how much it hurts you. And they keep doing it over and over and over again. And that's the nature of bullying. They do it to make themselves feel better and make you feel worse. The worse you feel, the better they feel. Well, you have to be resilient. You have to be tough, just like a balloon. You don't think a balloon is really tough, but it really can even stand up to its arch enemy if it really believes it can. Just like that. You have to develop a thick skin and let them go right through us. Like nothing else. As a performing illusionist, I have to travel all over the world doing magic, and I get a chance to go through a lot of airports. And that means going through customs and security and at every city that I go through. Now, on my way up to the Arctic, I was just in Florida, so I met the people from the TSA. That's the security at the airport in the US. And when I was there was a lady, and she said, well, I need to have your money. So I gave her my money, and she wanted my watch, and I don't normally take my watch off because my grandfather gave it to me, but I gave it to her, and she wanted to have my phone. And that I said, you have to be careful because I got a lot of special pictures on there and I don't want to lose any of them. As I went through the machines to make sure that I didn't have any other metal objects or anything like that, and I just kept on going because I was really in a rush to get to the Arctic. And the lady kept, wait, come back, you forgot your stuff. And I thought I played just a little bit of a joke because when she looked inside her little TSA bag, she noticed that it had disappeared and that I still had my money. I still had my watch, and my phone had come back to me. Never fool around with a magician. Hey Nunavik, I want to thank you so much for tuning into these videos. I really want to thank the Kativik Regional Police for sponsoring these videos, and as well as Influencers Motivating Influencers and Motive 8, our producers who helped me get all through Nunavik. And I can't wait to come and see you guys again. But you are going to learn some magic on these videos, and they will be amazing.